Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How's it going?
Oh God.
Oh no.
It's going. It's not a
Okay.
great time though.
Oh no.
How are
Hi.
you? It's every week. It's every week. How are you? Not good. Not good.
Oh no.
Ugh. I had a lovely rehearsal this morning though, so I'm tired.
Good.
What are y'all doing? How's life?
The hum at the end is perfect.
I didn't even know I did that.
At least you're laughing.
Yeah, I love everything I do. I just hate having something to do every single day, like work related.
Yeah, I get that.
I know, I know. I
You,
that's
what
what
I've
gets me through the
learned
day.
is that you have to allow yourself to limit your time. So if I think I'm, you know, heading towards a downward spiral, I allow myself to take a day off.
Yeah. Um, I am
Which
all
means I
about
say
that.
no to a bunch of people.
Yeah, I'm all about that. It's just the situations I'm in right now. I just
Yeah,
can't yet.
I get
I'm
that.
just it's
I get that.
a little spicy minty bees coming up if you know what I mean. So I'm hanging in there, and like what gets me through the day is like so many other people are doing this too,
Yeah.
and we'll all just be sad together. We'll all just be mad together. We're all just exhausted together.
Yeah.
Especially musicians like this time of year. It's like the
Mhm.
craziest, busiest ever.
Yeah.
Every year. Every year we do this to ourselves. Why do we do this to ourselves?
Yeah, that's how I feel about midsummer. I'm like, why do I do this to myself? It's
You get
just
all
like,
your repairs in the summer.
pretty much. Our biggest income is always at the very beginning of the school year. December does a decent job, and I'm hoping December increases. But in general, repair is always done in the summer for schools.
Sure.
So basically, if you have contracts with schools, that's when you get in all of your um, large contracts, and they all have to be done at the same time. School starts all at the same time. So yeah, that's always fun. I with the business I have now, it's not as big of a deal as it once was when I was working for larger companies. Um, because they did have like contracts with large school districts, and you're working, as a group of technicians or on your own. It depends on the size of your store to service all these schools. Even the smallest company I worked for, we had 3 repair techs across 2 physical buildings, and we covered half of the state of Oklahoma. So all of those school districts that we dealt with, that our road reps would visit weekly in the summer, we would take in some quantity of instruments from every one of those schools. Some of them would send us their entire supply. Some of them would send us just what they knew they were going to use the next year. And then when the next school year started, they would, if they weren't if they were, didn't have as many flutes ready as they needed or whatever, then they'd send the rest of the flutes that they needed. But because they were on such a tight budget, that they're like, beginning of the school year, okay, this is what we exactly need. And at the end of the school year, this is what I think we'll need for next year. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But then like in Colorado, working at a place where we had 8 to 10 technicians in one building, we had a contract with one school district as a I forget what it's called. Basically where the entire district only uses your shop. So they don't contract out to any other businesses at all. And so at the end of the year, we got all of the instruments for an entire district that had like 15 schools. So,
Jeez.
yeah. But because what they did, and their contract I think worked the best out of a lot of the contracts I've heard. I've never actually seen the physical contract, but like heard bits and pieces on how they work and how it's set up, because we had to kind of know what each district had, so we knew how to build them. Their contract was, we have a large sum amount for the entire school district for the entire year, and it was like, I don't know, $50,000 or something, and it didn't matter what school sent us an instrument, we just billed it to that contract essentially at the district head. And so all of the schools got everything covered based on that. And so the band directors had less to worry about, and they were only worried about their money for their trips and such. They didn't have to worry about their maintenance, which was nice. Anyway.
I have more questions, but I'm looking at the syllabus and it looks like we're going to talk business stuff in January.
Yeah.
So I can just wait until then.
Yeah, I try to keep the business to the end, although I don't mind, like if you've got a question that deals with a problem you have right now, we can totally cover that.
Yeah. Well, it's not a problem, so it's not pressing.
What's your question? Because you're gonna
I'm definitely one of those people like
I haven't even looked at the syllabus for today, so
okay.
I'm trying to get this Piccolo head cork out real fast.
Cute.
And I was like, we talk about Piccolos, I'm gonna do this while we talk.
Perfect. I'm so sorry. I'm one of those people that's like, well, I have a question, but if you're not ready, it's fine. I beat around the bush. It's just like, I guess an onboarding question. Like, do you, whenever you get a student's instrument, do you give them a receipt with an estimate? Do you like write down their serial number in case something extreme happens and you're able to match it back up? That kind of thing.
I can kind of show you our process. It's not going to be the same for every business, and really it's different from, my business is different from any of the businesses that I've worked for, but not in an extreme difference. It's just you have to work within the physical programs that you have. But Emily kind of knows this because I did her quote last week. I might just pull your quote up, okay? If that's okay. Yeah.
Show and tell. Show and
tell. Let's see. So I do 2 different steps when we onboard. The first one is the quote, which this is the quote for this Piccolo. Please do not copy down private information. I don't know how to blur this out.
It's okay. I will not remember after this moment.
Well, it's going on YouTube, so I might have to figure out how to blur this out.
You know, that makes sense.
I might send this to Duke today and have him edit for me. And before I forget, we're going to add one. Actually, Piccolo head cork. And I try not to go over the original estimate, so we are going to let's do 1.4. It'll be fine. And save. And then, of course, this is how my system works. It automatically creates an email and edits and all sorts of stuff.
That's really cool.
Okay, this is so yeah. When I took Emily's in, I gave her a quote, and basically I look at the instrument, which for her was over Zoom, which I have received your flute. I have not opened the box to double check this quote. When I do it over Zoom, I write everything out, and then when it arrives, I double check and compare what I'm physically seeing with what I talked with them about, just to verify my quote, because and so I don't tell them that the quote is finalized until I see the instrument. Because sometimes what they're telling me that they're seeing and what's in their pictures may not show what I actually see. Happens more often with people who are like hobbyists or young players and parents who barely know what their kids are talking about. But so I track the brand, the model, if I can find it, and serial number. The brand and the serial number is the main thing, because if something were to happen to my store, I need to be able to give a full documented police report. So I keep track of all of that as much as possible. If it's somebody walking in the door and they're like here for half an hour and they don't leave their instrument, I don't care. So like if I'm doing an on the spot repair for them, I don't get super picky about them. But if I do get the serial number off of their stuff, I can keep track of like how often they've come in and things like that. But so for Emily's, it's COA, a head cork, and 3 pads was my quote. So I break things down into labor and parts because that's most tax efficient for me. You don't tax labor in Oklahoma, and you tax parts and supplies. So it means I pay less in sales tax. Although she's out of state, so it doesn't really matter because we don't do out of state tax. So you kind of have to, when you're dealing with becoming a fully fledged business, you have to think about your tax liabilities and things like that. Making sure that you pay them on time, because they will come and get you and you're paying them correctly. So that's kind of something you either need somebody locally who knows what they're doing, or take a class locally. Which some state colleges, especially like state community colleges, will offer classes in like business taxes and things like that. So you can always look into that, and they're usually free or very low cost, and it's only like a couple days. So nothing crazy. I still haven't done mine, but my dad is a businessman here. He's been in business 25 years. With one company, and he owned a company before then. So he's my go-to source when I have a problem, and then secondary sources are always like actual tax agents and lawyers, CPAs, and people like them. So you do have to kind of network a bit. So this is my quote process. After I finish the job, I turn the quote into an invoice, and then the customer pays. If somebody wants to do like a down payment or something, I have to turn it into an invoice prior to finishing it, which kind of confuses me sometimes, but it only confuses me. It doesn't confuse the customer.
That's good.
Yeah. So it's just something I have to, those are some like limitations that are set by the program that I use and not by myself. And in general, if somebody's paid you money, it should be an invoice. If somebody hasn't paid you money, it can be a quote or an estimate, whatever you want to call it. So yeah.
Nice. Thanks. Just kind of knowing like the general information. I only work on my students' flutes right now, like things I can handle. and I just kind of do like a little sticky note.
So
It's not very professional yet.
all you really need to do for the time being, so you have record for taxes and things, is go to Walmart, go to the office aisle, and in the office aisle you can find a receipt book. It's a carbon copy receipt book.
Yeah.
And it's like $5, $10, something like that. And just write out a carbon copy receipt and give them one copy, and you keep the other copy in your book. When you finish that book, you create a new book. And then at the end of the year, you've got your book of receipts that you can go through to do your taxes. That's kind of I'm making less than $500 a year to do this job. Way to go. So that's the side hustle version. You still ideally you set up a separate account and you have a business account, and that's where your business money goes, and you keep that separate from your personal as best as you can, because if you ever get to the point where you want to grow into a full-fledged company, it's going to be a lot easier on you if your money is already separated out. So that's why when I opened this, I immediately purchased an LLC and a business name and got state tax state approved on my name and everything, because I don't want things to mix.
Yeah.
And with an LLC, it separates my personal assets from the business assets. And so if the business was to get sued, they cannot get any of my personal assets.
Oh, I see.
Where if you don't have an LLC, if they sue you as a repair tech, your personal assets are up for grabs, basically. So it's setting up proper business structures is more of a safety net for you than anything else. There's other types of business structures out there. The LLC is just the one I set up. I might switch to something like an S corp or something else later down the road, but that's kind of up for you to kind of look into and see what works for you and your situation. And whenever it comes to anything legal, I do recommend you talk to a CPA or a lawyer or something to kind of get their opinion based on your situation on how to figure that out. There are some really cool programs out there, statewide and nationwide, that can help you set up a business. One that my friend is doing right now is called SCORE. It's short for something. I can't remember what it's short for. I think it's SCORE. I'm gonna double check this. Basically it's a mentorship program. SCORE Business Mentoring, score.org. And basically it's a program that you sign up for, and he was matched with another businessman to help him build his business plan and structure. So he got a mentor for the last year and a half to help him devise his business plan, and he's now in the process, and he's about to open I think he did a soft open on his website this month, and he's doing, I think, a soft open on the actual physical building next month.
That's awesome.
So first of the year. Yeah.
Yay.
So like that's a great thing if you're wanting to like really delve into it and start a physical company. This is something that's really beneficial. There's other things too, like this is nationwide. So you can find a mentor anywhere basically. Whereas there's other local things in your area that I'm sure you could look into and find out. I think there's a program here in Oklahoma City that's not related to SCORE that does similar things. And then of course, with Lisa's classes, she's always available for questions on the business side of things too, and she's been in business longer than I have. She's done a lot more sales, so as far as sales are concerned, there's a lot more she can do there, and she's also done a lot more marketing than I have, so marketing questions are good with her.
Perfect. Thank you. With the company I work for, we're like a fine arts staffing supplier. So think like, hello, I'm a band director. I need a bassoon instructor. Okay, we have one available to start next week. That's my job.
Nice.
And they're paying a portion of this course for me to like come in and do this because they want me to now like work through the company as like flute repair for some school districts.
Oh, nice.
And they're wanting to do that if/when the certification happens, like if I pass. and so like I'm just kind of starting to think a little more business like. So I really appreciate your feedback.
Yep. It's a lot to set up at first, and like I'm personally still dealing with like credit card debt after starting it on a credit card. If you can have the opportunity to get like a business loan instead, you're going to have a better interest rate on a business loan than purchasing tools and supplies on a credit card. But to get that, you have to have like a business plan written out and a good structure and good credit history for the bank to afford that, basically.
That makes sense.
So, not that I couldn't have done that, but that's just not the way I went about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought about that. I'm like, a business loan, I don't need that. I'm just like my own little old me. Let me put it on a business credit card.
Right. Yeah. And that's basically what I did is I opened my LLC with the help of my dad and LegalZoom, which you can get suckered into subscriptions on their site, so watch out. But they do make it really easy to like fill out applications for legal documents of any kind, anything from your will to starting a business. So there's sites like that. I'm sure there's others. And then I took what cash I had. I think once I got I don't remember if it was the first check that I got paid or what. Basically, you need something to deposit into the account to go open a business checking account. And so if you have enough to open a checking and a savings, awesome. Yeah. You can start saving right away and having a backup to your income. Basically, your business should have an emergency account as well as your personal life should have an emergency account.
Gosh, yeah. I have negative money. This is so stressful. As soon as the house sells,
yeah.
Get the rest, get my assets back in order.
Don't overthink it too much. I'm just trying to give some helpful information.
Yeah, thank you. It's happening, but I appreciate it.
Oh boy. Not trying to stress you out further.
No, it's all good. I do it myself. And then this flute has so many rusted rods. So I'm just like, there was one, the whole foot joint was rusted, and then I have the G keys and the thumb key. I'm just like, please, for the love of God. Anyways, so
Oh boy. Yeah.
I'm
But
listening and trying to de-rest.
yeah, so I opened a checking account and a credit card right away.
Mm-hmm.
And the credit card is what I used to purchase things that I didn't have the money for right off. But you can very quickly get yourself into a lot of debt that way because the interest rate on that is sky high. So, if the bank will allow you to open a business loan instead or a business line of credit, either one of those would be a better option. The loan is better if you want to purchase things and then have you're basically a loan. They give you the money and then you pay them back over a length of time. A line of credit is where you have the ability to borrow up to a certain amount and pay it back and then reborrow it again and then pay it back and borrow it again. But you don't want to access that constantly because banks don't like that.
Okay.
That's more like you're going to buy equipment once a year kind of purchase and then pay it off throughout the year. And then the next year, maybe make another large purchase of equipment or supplies or whatever, and then pay it off throughout the year. So if you're keeping a large stock of inventory of pads or a large stock of inventory of cases or flutes or whatever, then the line of credit might be a way to go if you want to make one big purchase at the beginning of the year and then pay it off throughout the year. But a business loan is better if you just want to, pay down some debts or get a lower interest rate on something, or it's more like a normal loan, basically. So,
oh gosh, there's so much to think about. That's crazy. It's crazy. Did you figure out some of this on your own, or did you have mentors?
It's a bit of everything. I mean, I grew up watching my dad run a company, so that in itself taught me work ethic, which I do not have the same work ethic that he does. This is crazy. But I think part of that is I'm a woman, he's a man. There's a difference. But so I've seen that side of things. I've seen him, run a company with 20 plus employees every year and what that entails. And then I went and I worked at music stores to see the different business model, because my dad's business model is structured so that he doesn't have to do barely any marketing at all. His advertising costs throughout the year are almost nil. He basically has a website and business cards, and that's it. But his business model is to be the production site for sales people who are selling items. So he doesn't have to sell anything.
Interesting.
Other than giving his wholesalers good prices. The better prices he can give them, the more likely they'll come to him to create product. But we're not creating product. We are offering repairs at a value of the repair itself. So we're more like an auto shop in that respect. So we do have to advertise, and we do have to consider our reputation across the public's eye, and more so than my dad does. My dad's reputation deals with his salesmen, not with the public.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So there's a difference there. And so that means that we also get into things that potentially, you don't have to, but we can get into things that my dad would never even touch, like rentals. He doesn't deal with rentals. He doesn't deal with, renting out these very expensive instruments to people he doesn't know if they're going to pay him or not.
Yeah.
So, I get around that with music and arts. So music and arts is my rental distributor, and I sign a contract with them, basically saying I will be your hub in Oklahoma City for your rentals. And anybody who rents one of your instruments, either online or in my shop, can bring it back to my shop for pickup or drop off or, repairs or exchanges, whatever. And then they deal with all the payments, and they deal with all of the bad debt and all of the instrument um, inventory. Basically, I don't have to pay for the inventory. I just house it.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's a similar kind of thing setup I have with Lisa and with Carolyn and with Oboe Chicago. But they keep their inventory until I need it. So when I need their inventory, then they ship it to me.
Okay. That's so interesting. It's like a bank of instruments.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of.
Oh, you need $1 billion today? Yes, I do. Well, here you go. Anyways. That's interesting. I had no idea that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of a new thing that Lisa's trying to it's not new for music and arts, but it's new to do at the higher level of professional level instruments. So it's something Lisa's trying to develop. And so I'm one of the first stores that she has had to set this up.
Nice. When you said Carolyn
Nussbaum.
Okay, that's what's going to ask.
Yeah. Yep. So basically, Oklahoma City is 3 hours from Carolyn's, and a lot of Oklahomans, especially anybody in Tulsa or even up to Kansas, don't like to drive all the way down to Texas to try out instruments.
I never thought about how close Carolyn is to Oklahoma. You feel forever away. But then, Dallas to Oklahoma, it's just...
Yeah, exactly. Silly. I mean, I have family in Dallas growing up, so
that makes sense.
We went to Dallas like once every couple years.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
What a life.
Oh, mate. So I don't even... Since you have the syllabus pulled up, what is on the syllabus for today?
Oh my goch. Okay. Today's syllabus is Piccolo continued, padding continued, finish and answer questions. Adjustments, head corks, lost motion, and then a video is due of Piccolo adjustment.
Okay. Cool. Questions? Because I feel like we've covered all of this.
I really feel like we have too. I did get a Piccolo from a school, but I played on it right before class, and it plays just fine. So I need to go find another Piccolo.
No, just take adjustments out.
Oh, okay. I was thinking about, still changing one of the pads, but I mean, it works now. What if I make it not work? And that's the whole point, is learning how to fix it, but I don't want to be the cause for a changed out Piccolo. So that's my question. So what do I do?
Use it for your assignments and then give it back.
Okay, great. I know I'm behind on my assignments. This weekend is my get it done weekend.
That's
you too, Emily. Oh.
That is one thing maybe we can go over here in a second. I'm going to actually have Daniel finish his Piccolo head cork up if he's available now, because the customer I think is gone. So that we can call this customer and say, hey, your Piccolo's done. So give me 1 second, and then I want to go over and make sure I have recorded all the assignments that you guys have turned in, because I did watch them yesterday. I think I finished them. Hold on.
Emily,
how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was nice and chill.
Good.
Yeah, how about you?
Not as nice and chill as I wanted.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was I drive 4 hours to get to family, and then every day I was driving at least 2 hours. Like, oh, Stephanie, my car's in the shop. Can we go get it? I'm like, wait, why did you do it now? I'm here to relax and hang out with you, not drive more. And then just chores. helping my
Yeah.
mom out around the house, and
There you go.
yeah, not my fave.
Well, what? You didn't do that enough growing up?
Oh my gosh, I like went to so much therapy for like
Oh
OCD
no.
tendencies because of the way my mom regulated chores growing
Oh
up.
goodness. Uh-oh.
um, but I did have like a chat with my mom at the end of the break, and I was like, "This was so overwhelming. When I come back from Christmas, can it just be relaxing, please?"
Right, right.
Yeah. What are you working on?
I just took apart my piccolo this morning. Um, so I took it apart, I cleaned it. It was disgusting. Um, this was my marching piccolo for a few
Oh
seasons. So
my gosh.
um, the a couple of the rods I had to oil to get out. They weren't
Mhm.
rusted, but they were gross.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm just like, now that it's clean, putting it back together and seeing I'm missing two corks at least, and we'll go from there.
Lovely.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, good luck on your piccolo.
Good luck on your piccolo.
Thanks. I need to reach out and get one I can work on and benefit from because this puppy is just fine.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm before I close out this screen, I'm gonna also show you the other thing that we do.
Ooh.
I'm just gonna hide people's private information real quick.
Secrets.
um
Please come on, Rusted. Please.
heat and oil, heat and oil, heat and oil.
Yes, ma'am. Ab- Absolutely. That's yep.
Okay, I actually like that. Absolutely.
I own a
Had to
web
tell Jen.
domain called absolutelytx.com, but I haven't done anything with it yet.
I I saw it. I haven't had a chance to pick that up. That's I'm sorry.
Ooh.
So after we track in Account Edge, I use Account Edge for our like invoices and banking and everything, keeping track of taxes and whatnot. But
Gosh.
keep track of due dates and things. I use Airtable. It may be a little bit more complicated than it needs to be, but
It's beautiful. Oh my gosh.
and this is if you keep it to certain restrictions, you can use this program for free online. It's when you reach certain levels or you want to use certain parts of the program, then you have to upgrade to a subscription. And I will say their subscription to me is kind of expensive. But it's mostly expensive because it's so their program works, it's divided into workspaces and then bases. So for every base, where was I at? No, this one. For every base, you can share this with as many people as you like, but if you're on the subscription plan, it's $20 a month per person
Oh.
on that base.
Oh.
Yeah, it's expensive.
I don't love that.
I don't either. But you can do a lot for free because the only workspace I pay for is this one. And I just strictly make it so that I'm the only person on that workspace. And then everything else is free, and those are the workspaces and bases that I share with other people, and you have up to 5 people on those for free before you have to upgrade. Which to me is like, well, if you do upgrade one of those and you have 5 people and you're going to 6 people, you're paying a lot of money to upgrade that base.
Yeah.
So you're paying 6 people a month. So $120 a month for that base, which I'm just like, guys.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. So if you're sharing with a few people, it's fine. Or if you're keeping it to yourself, it's fine. It's yeah. Anyway, I keep track of our due dates, our the days that people contacted us, they approved it, we scheduled the start date, the drop off, the promise. You don't have to keep track of all these dates. I do it because I don't always track all of them. I'm really bad sometimes and I forget to write some of these dates in. And I want to be able to look back and go, what did I say? But it does also help me keep track of more dates that I have talked with customers about. And for me, my biggest problem is time management. And as you can see, these red ones are overdue. So, I still have problems.
I've had this flute for 3 weeks, so I don't know if that strength in numbers helps you feel any better.
3 weeks is my normal turnaround time, so you're fine.
It's not even an overhaul. It's just like, hey, can you like clean it and replace a couple pads and
yeah. Overhauls are where I get stuck on overhauls, and that's where I struggle. And it's not every overhaul. It's like some overhauls.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like, I don't even want to tell you how long I've had 1 or 2 of these.
Ooh, but what if we want to know?
I'm gonna know.
7 weeks.
That's my guess. But yeah, I use this. This tab is for dates. This tab is for the actual repairs, clients, instruments, etc., etc. So I like this program a lot. I use it a little too much sometimes.
It's really cool though, and it's a good way to keep track of everything.
And this is where, had we kept up with it, because I also did not keep up with it. Your time trackers.
LOL.
Yeah.
See, Emily and I did a couple.
Yeah. You did. You did.
One of them was an accident. It's the one that says none. Oops. I was just learning what buttons to click in what order.
Yeah.
Nope, I feel that.
Yeah. But that, you can kind of see how you can use this, because you can also use this as a form in your website. You can build a form on here, and then you can embed it in your website, or you can share a link in an email whenever somebody makes an appointment with you, and get all their information, and they fill it out, not you, so you don't have any oopsies.
Yeah. That sounds good. We love to eliminate the oopsies. Can I ask a question about something I'm seeing? So on the thumb key, like the key does not move freely. I have to manually move it. And when I look at the screw, it does not move with the key. But when I look at the G key, it moves on its own. And when I look at the screw, it's going with the key. What's happening here?
Okay. We might have to take this down to one key at a time.
I just wasn't sure how to explain without using a comparison.
Let me rephrase it in how I think you said it.
Okay.
So your thumb key the key doesn't want to move, but the rod screw's not moving with the key.
Correct.
Okay. And then on the G key, the key's moving fine, but the rod screw's moving with the key.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that one's the easier one.
Okay.
The rod screw has a burr or is slightly bent in the key and is rotating with the key as the key's moving.
Okay.
The other one, your thumb key. So the rod screw is not moving.
Mm-hmm.
And the keys are also barely moving.
Yeah.
Basically, the spring's not overpowering whatever the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done any swedging on the thumb key, or has the post gotten bumped at all?
If it has gotten bumped, I'm unaware of it. This is his marching flute, so God knows what happens.
Yeah, I saw one today that had glitter in the open hole slot with the plugs on the underside of the pad. Like the plug was halfway through the hole and the glitter was on the plug under the pad. Like under the key on the pad side.
Weird.
She was like, yeah, it's something we do for Christmas march, the Christmas marching parade.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah, they're gonna have to stop that.
yay.
Whoa.
She is. She's planning on doing a rental next year for marching band.
That's nice.
Yeah. My suspicion is that either the thumb post on the bottom is bent forward, which if it is, it could lead to a solder point, but it depends on how bad it is. Hold on, let me grab a flute. Yeah. I'm gonna switch cameras too. Okay, so if this post is bent, and let's just say that this, rib ends at the bottom of the post. Sometimes if this post gets bent forward or even side to side, it'll pull the rib with it. And so there could be a raise in the rib, and you just kind of look at the edge of it and see if you see if you can tell if anything will fit underneath it or not. If not, then either the post is bent and just didn't bend the rib, or the post is not bent. You want to look at all the pieces of the keys and the posts and look at every edge that rubs against another edge between the 4 pieces and see if there's a burr anywhere. You can also try each of the keys on the rod themselves, like by themselves, and make sure that they rotate freely on the rod all the way from one end to the other. You're gonna have to do a bit of searching to figure out where the problem actually is.
Okay. What if so the thumby flat part moves freely? It's the big thumb key that's stuck. So that tells me the issue's on the bottom half, question mark?
Yeah, so either potentially it's got a burr on the key or on the key to the post down here. Or since you are dealing with some rust issues, maybe there's still some rust underneath that key on the rod.
Okay.
So, especially with the rod screw not moving, I'm leaning more towards like a burr or something like that.
Okay.
But it also could be that only that key has a slight bend in it and not the other. Or the bend is in that portion of the rod, Normally the thumb key gets bent like right in the middle, right where both keys meet, because that's where it's mostly susceptible to it. But another thing to look for is on the hinge tube itself, so like I'm going to point to this G sharp key on the actual hinge tube. On the outside, you can look to see if there's like a little dent in the hinge tube on the outside, and if you see one, hold it up to the light and look down inside the hinge tube and see if the dent shows up on the inside as well. Because just like a valve casing on a trumpet or a slide tube on a trombone, if you get a dent on the outside, it's going to go all the way through. And depending on how hard or how well fitting really the rod screw is to the key will tell you if that dent is actually going to cause an issue or not. Because if that rod screw was the exact size it needed to be, that dent really wouldn't hurt it. But because the rod screw is usually a little bit smaller, that dent could actually cause binding.
Oh, okay. Gosh. Yeah, that makes sense. Nothing is sticking out to me so far. When I do manually move the B key, it feels almost a little gritty, so the burr situation kind of makes sense. How would I reconcile that?
Well, you got to take everything off, and you got to find out where you think that burr is.
Like unsolder it, take it off?
No, just take the key off.
I can't.
Oh, that's the key that won't come off.
Yeah, so I have two, the G and the thumb key.
How long have you been trying to get that key off?
I've done a little bit for the last 3 days. Okay. By a little bit, I mean no more than 20-30 minutes. Of doing, I have some like penetrant oil and my little heat source.
Okay. In all of the heating and oiling that you've been doing, have you tried, I know you've tried backing the screw out. Have you tried tightening the screw down?
I'm so scared to do that.
Don't be scared to do that. If it's not going to go anywhere, then it's not going to go anywhere. The worst thing that could happen is that the head of the screw breaks off. Which at that point you're gonna have to unsolder it anyway. Yeah. The best thing that could happen is that sometimes rust, for whatever reason, is easier to break in the forward direction than in the backwards direction sometimes. Okay. So if you break the rust going forward, then you should be able to back it out.
Okay. I shall try.
Yeah. Okay. Burrs are where I think of burrs as I've been working on this instrument for a while and I've put a burr in it somewhere. It's not usually something that the client is going to put into an instrument unless it's obviously been dropped. Or they have used polishing compound on it. That's fun. Rust is more likely your issue. Okay. Rust or something bent or dented.
Yeah. That tracks with what I was thinking, but I didn't want to be working on something improperly. Okay, so I cannot make it go forward either. Okay.
I mean, at this point, you could be to the point of maybe we should unsolder it. That's gonna kind of be up to you, but if it can, the thumb key, you have to think about, can it be unsoldered? Is unsoldering it gonna help? On this flute, it would not help because the rib, the bottom post and the top post are on the same exact rib, and the only thing you can unsolder is the rib. So if I was to unsolder this rib, it would do absolutely nothing for me
because it would still be stuck together in that position. That makes sense.
Yeah. So for me, the only thing I could go to is actually cutting off the key.
Golly.
So, but if your bottom post is separate from your top post, it's a lot simpler in the long. It doesn't feel like it when you go to unsolder it. You're like, I'm taking this instrument apart.
Yeah.
But
horrifying.
When you compare it to cutting off the key and then building a rod screw. You basically have to make another rod screw from scratch
Jeez.
and then put it all back together and then swedge the keys because now you've cut off some of the silver. You have to tighten everything back up with swedging. So when you put all that back together, that is a lot more work in my mind than unsoldering a post, taking everything apart, and then resoldering the post back on.
Yeah. Wow.
You still might have to make a rod screw, but you're less likely to have to make a rod screw if you can actually get it apart and straighten it and clean it and
Jeez.
get rid of all the rust.
Yeah. Dang. That's crazy. Thanks.
So, do you have, I mean, you've got your little torch that will work, that will unsolder things. Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. I have no way to fix that, but I'm good friends with someone like you down the road, a repair tech for all band instruments, and that's his living. And my difficult instruments I'll take to him, but I am trying to be a little bit more independent. But he's always there to help me out.
Good. I would. Now you also said your G sharp was stuck.
The G.
The G, right? Okay.
Yes.
I've got a stuck G sharp right now.
Oh my god, almost twinsies.
Almost. This one's already been overhauled, so I just overswedged the darn thing.
Oh jeez.
But even still, with your G sharp, you're not going to be able to unsolder that.
How come?
So on the G sharp, either your posts are on the same rib all the way down the main line, or they're on two separate ribs, but they're still connected to the main line.
Oh, okay.
Just they just split the rib sometimes into upper and lower. So you can't unsolder a post.
Got it. The rib, not the post. Uh-oh.
I mean, you could unsolder the rib, but you're going to unsolder the entire flute, basically.
Yeah, but okay, there we go. It froze for a second and I was just like processing everything. My brain. Okay, so on the G key, when I move the keys, they do come back up and the rod screw moves with it.
Mm-hmm. So with that one, what I kind of like to do is with your penetrating oil in there, put your screwdriver in the rod screw and hold the screw still while you rotate the key. And then pull the screwdriver out, let it come back out, put it back in, and then rotate the key again while holding the rod screw in place. So you're just trying to break the rust at that point. And you're doing that by holding the rod screw in place. And then once you get the rust to break free, you should be able to, you might have to work at it, you should be able to unscrew the key and back it out.
Okay, I will try that.
Might help to do it while it's warm too, so heat it up and then try that. Fire! This is why all repair techs are addicted to fire and their pyros.
And then we can just go make creme brulee afterwards. It's a great day. Okay, you're nice and toasty now. Let's try some things.
While she's doing that, Emily, how's it going over there?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Emily.
No, you're good. This is interesting. So I'm like working on my stuff, and then oh yeah, I should be listening and learning, and then no, fine. It's going pretty well. I was just debating because I cleaned my Piccolo and re-oiled it, and it still feels gummy, so I might unpin it. Just the right hand mostly.
Yeah.
And then see if I can show you this. My
Yeah.
my whoever's in the back here. Oh, I think my phone stuff over. That's too bad. They don't hit together. And then when I press down my A key, it actually hits the trill key rod. So I think I might have bent it at some point.
Yeah, I think that's bent too high.
Yeah.
So you have to hold down the A key and bend that back down.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a back and forth because you're most likely going to bend it too far and then have to open it back up. It's just they're so small and they're so soft, and you've just barely and it's too far, and then it's permanently closed, and you're like, well, that's not what I wanted.
Right. I want it open sometimes, just
Right. If I had a third hand, I'd say put something like the like a felt that's the correct thickness in between the two as you're bending it, and then you can't overbend it as soon as you remove the felt. But that's, this is the first time I'm thinking of that idea, and I've been doing this for 10 years.
Nice.
So have I tried it? No. Maybe I should.
It would be good for experimental purposes, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have really made this key on tight. Want to come off. I think part of it's the trill keys. There we go.
Hey.
Ha. Okay. So before I forget, I want to make sure I've documented the assignments that you guys have turned in.
Dang, this stinking key.
Just accidentally opened Spotify. That was not intentional. If my computer starts playing music to you, I'm sorry. Although I don't think Zoom would allow it. Where did I put the syllabus? Apparently, it's been too long since I opened Microsoft Word because it's having to verify the program.
Oh my gosh.
What did I do? Pretty sure I used that this week. Thanks. Yay. What? I updated this. What the heck are you trying to tell me?
I had no idea my dog was in here. Hi, Daisy. He just came out of nowhere. Daisy's come to say hi.
Hello.
Her voice is atrocious. She says, hello. Come sniff a flute? No, mama.
Okay, I need. Sorry, give me a second to get this set up.
It is all good. Oh, interesting development. The G key is no longer moving freely.
So what have you done so far?
What I did just now was a little more heat, a little more oil. What I did right before that was try to unscrew it some more.
Okay.
So
it might have moved.
Maybe so. Maybe just enough to like catch it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a good sign. I hope that's a good sign. Well, let's try to move it again. Maybe it just moved a little bit. Yes. Okay, it's starting to move.
Woohoo!
Yay. Okay, slow and steady. Don't want to damage anything. Wow, that felt great. Okay. My hand hurts. I need to take a break.
We've done one one-on-one or two one-on-ones so far.
I'm not positive because I know one time it was you and me, Christina, but I don't know if that's because Emily was absent or if it was a one-on-one.
Yeah, we've just done one. and then I was gone once.
I think we've done 2.
Oh,
Week
Or
4 and week 11, which I think got moved around. But those should both be done.
Cool.
Because we're on like week 14 or something right now. Which is crazy. Week 16.
Week 16, yeah.
Dang.
Which is still
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah. So next week is just review on Flute and Piccolo and whatever issues you're currently having. And the week after that is one-on-ones. And then we don't meet again until January.
Gosh.
So yeah, so basically from week 18 to week 19, that's basically 3 weeks without meeting. So
yeah. Gosh.
So at this point we should have almost all of your assignments turned in by the time we take Christmas break.
Yes, those will be
Yeah,
in. They're not hard. It's just sitting down to do it amongst the other to-dos.
Oh, I know. Believe me, I know.
Thanks for understanding. I was reading the attendance policy before we start. It says it's extremely difficult to find a master repair tech with the level of experience of Christina. It is expected you will honor the opportunity with an appropriate level of effort. And I'm like, oh fuck. So I'm just really thankful for your patience and understanding.
Same.
We've had students before that get all the way to the end and they still haven't turned in their assignments, and then 6 months later they're like, did I pass? And I'm like, you didn't turn in your assignments, and class is over, like.
Yeah, okay.
So no.
At least we're not that.
Yeah. Well, and we're getting better at making sure the students turn in their assignments before classes end. Which is why I don't know if you guys have been told yet, but we're switching to a new program next year.
Okay.
Where everything, basically all of our recorded videos are on a Canvas program. And so a lot of the classes will be just watching the old recordings and asking questions and doing the assignments and basically uploading your assignments, and then you can move on. So you can't move on until your assignment's done.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's great.
It also makes it a lot easier for us to keep track of who's turned in what and when and where and why. Because that, to me, is the hardest part. That's why we did the forums, but even then, the forums are still hard to navigate sometimes, and they're confusing because you could post on the homepage or you could post in the actual forum, and you don't know where it's at unless somebody's tagged in it.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, where did that go? Or you spend an hour trying to find them, which is what I'm about to do.
Love that for you.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Oh my gosh.
So I've just added these assignments into my gradebook because I realized they weren't there.
Ooh. Oh my god, gradebook. So official.
Gradebook. Yeah. Thankfully, I don't have to have one in Canvas because Canvas is the gradebook.
Yeah.
That's
Canvas
my thing is I had to make a gradebook this last year, and it's a pain to keep up with.
I hope
So
Canvas is easier for you. We use it at one of the universities I teach at, and it's so handy and intuitive if you haven't used it before.
I have not used it before, and I've barely delved into it. Thankfully, we've had somebody else do all the setup for us so far.
Mm.
Um, so I haven't actually delved super deep into it yet because I've been dealing with a bunch of other projects and
Yeah.
whatnot. But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fairly easy
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
work through. And the other nice thing is that other classes, like the level 1 and level 2 classes, are going to be covered by multiple teachers so that you get different perspectives, as well as the teachers have more opportunity to actually get their own work done.
Yeah, that's so great. I'm so happy for y'all.
So, yeah, it'll be a little different going forward than what you guys have had, but if you guys did continue to do like level 3 and 4, those are all private lessons. They might be on Canvas, but they're still going to be one-on-one private lesson structure. So
Cool.
yeah. Um, okay. So what I need to do is this, I think. So on your assignments on the forum, am I in the wrong forum? These are the wrong people. Or is this my profile page? And you can, this is interesting. I think it's my profile page. Okay. Don't remember going there. I think the only one I haven't watched of your videos that you put up, Emily, is the spring replacement video. The pad videos looked fine. Did you have any problems in those pad videos that you had questions on or anything?
No. Right now I'm still leveling them. I feel like I've taken a million years. But I did have a show in there and Thanksgiving was in there, so like
Yeah. Well, also you are dealing with a really thin pad that's pressed felt. So the pressed felt pads they take longer in general because the
okay.
felt is so very specifically thick.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have any kind of fluffy qualities to it.
Yeah.
So shimming it does take forever. I did a flute last week with pressed felt pads install, and it's just kind of a long haul process. Because it's more particular than woven felt. So I fully understand why you're taking a bit longer on that. And that there's more to go.
Yeah. I think I
Yeah.
pretty much have the left hand where I want it. The right hand is close. I feel like, but yeah, it's just every time I think I got it, and then there's a tiny little leak.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then I reorganized my shims this morning as well because I had some of them in the wrong box, and so I would cut one to put in an open hole, be too big or too small, and I'd be like, all right, we're doing this now. So I got myself a new little
Cute.
guy for all of my shims.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
so cute.
So that was half of my problem as well. I was like, I think this is an 18. Oh no, it's a 17. Like
Oh.
so yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I started my Piccolo because I was like, all right, I'm gonna sit you over there for just a minute and I'm gonna take something else apart. So
I get that too. I do that sometimes. I'm like, I'm done with you. You're sitting in the corner.
yeah. just go over there just for a bit. I'll go play with some fire right quick. Bye.
Yeah, let's go burn something down. Or even better is if you have an old trumpet and a brass mandrel and a vice, go bang on a trumpet for a while. It really gets the anger management out.
Well, it sounds like someone has experience.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there were a few days in my first job where I was just like, this instrument is not doing anything I want it to. And got so frustrated with it. It was probably a saxophone for all I know. And yeah, there's, an unused vice behind me and old trumpet parts and mandrels and hammers. You know what? I need to practice my debt work, guys. Yep.
I did want to show you guys though, just for kicks and giggles. This is the thumb pad that I took out of my Piccolo. Look how mushroomed.
Oh
I like
my
stuck it in there
gosh.
so bad. So now I have a pad that fits instead of a little mushroom.
Wow.
But yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah,
Is it
they were
a
the only ones on the
clarinet
whole.
pad?
I don't know. I mean, it's tiny.
Well, yeah, all piccolo pads are tiny.
It's true.
So,
That
a
is true.
clarinet pad, you've got your felt here, but your cardboard underneath it is actually quite thick, and it's actually smaller than the pad, so it kind of is below the size of the felt. So like your felt's here, your cardboard is like here, and it's centered underneath the felt. It's so that the pad fits into the beveled clarinet pad cups. So if you look at a clarinet pad cup, it's got a really steep angle and then a straight wall sides. So it needs some extra support under there. So the cardboard's a lot thicker and it's taller, and well, that's what thicker means, but it's smaller than the felt, because the felt fills the top part of the pad cup and the cardboard fills the bottom part of the pad cup, and then glue is underneath that. So sometimes they get used in piccolos.
It might be because it feels like the part that was, now it's covered in glue, mind you.
Right.
The part that was in the pad cup is sturdier than the top fluffy bit, so that could very well be. Yeah, they're both little mushrooms. Thank you.
Okay, so we have, I'm trying to think after this. So we've got 2 more one-on-ones. We got one in December. Oh, come on. And then one in what was the last one? Oh, it's on the last week. Okay, so the last week is one-on-ones. Sorry, just trying to get all the assignments in here so I can create a view where you guys can see which ones you're missing and which ones you're done with.
Sounds good.
Normally I don't do this during class, but we have covered pretty much everything. So I wrote in the syllabus separately an unpinning video and unpinning together. What did we end up doing? Was it just unpinning together and the one-on-ones? That's what I said counted as your video.
I think so. I remember unpinning with
Yeah,
you.
in the one-on-one. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna take that off the list then.
Oh, I do have an unpinning question.
Sure.
I haven't worked on this flute before, but I've already like sent it back. The pin was too short for me to unpin. How do I do that?
Was too short.
Like the pin punch would like there wasn't enough length for the pin punch to unpin the pin.
So the pin, you had it so far down in the pin punch that the punch didn't actually reach any further.
Yeah, like I just didn't even bother like unpinning her flute because the keys moved just fine anyways. And she's like, I just need it to play and for marching flute. And so I was like, I can't unpin it and clean what needs to be cleaned, but the flute plays and I don't know if I'm verbalizing it right. Like
No,
I was
I
trying
think
to
I
unpin
think
it.
you're fine. Basically what you're saying is that the flute was sitting so low that when you hit this, it didn't reach.
No, like it just like I couldn't get it unpinned. Like no matter like giving it a real good whack, the pin stayed in there. I felt like the pin punch didn't even touch the pin to knock it out. They were really short pins.
I think where I'm getting lost is every when you say the pin punch was too short, it makes me think that you punch this and it falls out of the guide.
Like doesn't the tip isn't small enough, long enough to fit through the hole far enough.
Was it a Yamaha or
It oh gosh. I'm pretty sure she has two flutes. I'm pretty sure it's a Yamaha. If not, it's like a Meinhardt.
I don't think it's a Meinhardt. If it is, they changed factories again.
And it would be in like an old school Gemeinhardt if it was.
Yeah, it's not the Gemeinhardt then, unless it's a pin that somebody else put in and didn't do properly. But so you had the hole for the pin was taller than the pin itself.
Yes.
The pin was sunken inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and is it most likely on the double arm for the right hand stack where there was two pins next to each other?
It was not that one. Gosh, this was weeks ago. It was one of the single pins.
That's interesting.
But it's already 3. I'm sorry. But it was just something I wanted to ask, like, how do I do that? And I couldn't pull it out with nippers and.
Yeah, no. I don't know where my pinning box is at the moment, but basically, you have to use some kind of an adapter and a pin itself or a spring. Yeah, like the spring that Emily's showing. Um,
Oh.
to punch that pin out. Or
Girl, what is that?
Saxophone spring.
the saxophone spring with a JLS adapter.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Typing that in. Oh, so just saxophone spring?
Well, it's a specific size saxophone spring.
Okay.
I think, did we talk about it in your pinning video, Emily?
My one-on-one, yeah.
So it might, if you rewatch her one-on-one, you might go find it there.
Let me type that down. Watch Lily's one-on-one. Okay, I'll go do that so that way I don't have to take up any more time.
And I think I showed her a couple other options as well.
Cool. I'll go check that out.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is finish out this grade book thing. Basically, I'm gonna send you each a link where you can see the videos that I've seen, and if I've seen them, they're passed at this point because we've answered all the questions that you had for them. If they were fail, it would only be because either they weren't turned in or yet, which I'm not going to fail any of them that haven't been turned in yet. Or if you did something really dumb in them, which none of you did. So I've only really failed one video, 1 or 2 videos in all the videos that I've seen submitted in the last year and a half. So you're fine. Yeah, don't put a head joint in a vise and expect it to not be damaged.
Oh.
You're gonna write that down.
Wait.
You don't need to write that down. You know better.
Picking. Absolutely picking.
Yeah. Okay.
Christina says.
Oh boy.
Thank you so much, Christina.
I found the size to my needle spring if you want it.
Okie dokie.
It's 0.055 by 3.546 inches, or 1.4 millimeters by 90 millimeters. And everybody else knows.
All right. Thank you so much.
That makes things easy. I still suggest you go watch her video.
Yeah, I will.
And
for
vice
sure.
versa. Especially the pinning, because that's where all the mistakes are made.
Yeah, that's scary.
So, okay, you guys have a great day. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.